Genghis Khan is considered to be one of the most feared men in history. He was an excellent military strategist who led his nomadic Mongol army across Asia and Eastern Europe in the 13th century. During his lifetime, he forged one of the largest empires in history, conquering vast swaths of land and eliminating anyone who stood in his way. However, despite his many accomplishments, there are still some unanswered questions surrounding his life. One of the most popular theories among historians is, why did Genghis Khan suddenly vanish after his empire was at its peak? And how did he manage to disappear without a trace? In this video, we explore the different theories about what happened to him and try to piece together what really happened to the great Khan. But before we get into it, remember to give us a thumbs up and support our channel. Now let's begin. The rise of the Mongol Empire. Before we dive into the mystery of Genghis Khan's disappearance, it's important to understand the rise of the Mongol Empire and how Genghis came to power. The Mongols were a nomadic people who lived in the vast steppes of Central Asia. They were known for their skill in horseback riding and archery, as well as their ability to live off the land. Genghis Khan, whose birth name was Temujin, was born around 1162 and rose to power in the early 13th century. He united the Mongol tribes under his banner and went on to conquer vast territories, including parts of modern-day China, Korea, Russia, and Poland. His military tactics were brilliant, and his empire stretched from the Pacific Ocean to Eastern Europe. Under Genghis's rule, the Mongol Empire became one of the largest empires in history, spanning over 9 million square miles and encompassing much of Asia and Eastern Europe. He implemented a policy of religious tolerance, which allowed people of different faiths to practice their religion freely within his empire. Additionally, he established a sophisticated postal system, standardized weights and measures, and promoted trade along the Silk Road. Genghis Khan's death and the succession crisis. Despite the success of the Mongol Empire, there were signs of trouble on the horizon. As Genghis Khan grew older, he became increasingly paranoid and isolated. He began to distrust his advisors and even his family members, and he spent much of his time planning for his succession. In 1227, he set out on a campaign to conquer the Western Xia dynasty, but he fell ill and died on August 18, 1227, possibly from injuries sustained from a fall during a battle. Upon his death, the Mongol Empire was at its peak and seemed poised for even greater things. But the question of who would succeed Genghis Khan was a contentious one. His will stipulated that the throne should pass to his eldest son, Ogedei, but there were other contenders, including Genghis's widow and her lover. But there were also rumors that Genghis had a secret third wife who bore him a son that could also make a claim to the throne. This created a climate of uncertainty and suspicion within the empire, and it was clear that there would be a struggle for power. The mystery of Genghis Khan's disappearance. In the midst of this succession crisis, something strange happened. Genghis Khan's body disappeared. According to historical accounts, his remains were initially buried in a secret location known only to a small group of people. But over time, the burial site was lost or perhaps looted. Some historians believe that the confusion over the rightful heir to the throne may have led to the disappearance of Genghis's body. Others speculate that the grave was lost due to natural disasters such as floods or earthquakes. Still, others believe that Genghis's remains may have been intentionally removed and hidden to prevent any potential claimants to the throne from using his burial site as a rallying point. Adding to the intrigue is the fact that there are no known surviving portraits of Genghis Khan. All of the images we have today are based on a single 13th century manuscript, which means we have little idea what he actually looked like. The secret burial site. Over the centuries, various individuals have claimed to know the true location of Genghis Khan's burial site, but none of these claims have been substantiated. One popular theory holds that his remains are buried in a mountain in Mongolia known as Kentai, where his favorite horse is also said to be buried. Another theory suggests that Genghis Khan's body was lost in the flooding of the Anan River. Regardless of the truth, the mystery surrounding his burial site continues to captivate people around the world. The legacy of Genghis Khan. Despite the mystery surrounding his death and burial, Genghis Khan's legacy is secure. He is remembered as one of the greatest military leaders in history, and his empire's achievements, in terms of size and scope, have rarely been matched. His impact on world history is undeniable, and his story continues to inspire awe and wonder. Genghis Khan's empire was truly a force to be reckoned with. His military strategies were innovative and effective, and he was able to unite rival tribes under his banner, creating a sense of unity and purpose among the Mongols. One of his greatest strengths was his ability to adapt to different situations and his willingness to learn from his enemies. For example, after the Mongols suffered a defeat at the hands of the Western Xia dynasty, he studied their military tactics and adapted them to his own army, ultimately defeating the Xia dynasty and incorporating their technologies into his own arsenal. Another factor that contributed to the success of the Mongol Empire was the vast size of the empire itself. The sheer distance between the various provinces meant that communication and travel took a long time, which made it difficult for any one ruler to control all of it. This led to a decentralized form of government in which local governors had a great deal of autonomy. This system worked well in the early days of the empire, but as the provinces grew wealthier, they also became more independent. Eventually, some of them broke away from the empire altogether and became independent states. In addition to the size of the empire, there were also internal conflicts that weakened the Mongol rule. After Genghis Khan's death, there was a power struggle among his sons to succeed him as the Great Khan. This led to a civil war that lasted for several years and resulted in the deaths of many nobles and princes. Even after a successor was established, there was still resistance from the various provinces, and it was not until the reign of Kublai Khan that the empire was able to stabilize and flourish once again. Despite the eventual decline of the Mongol Empire, the legacy of Genghis Khan lives on. He is remembered as a brilliant military strategist and a skilled leader. His empire's achievements in terms of size and scope have rarely been matched, and his impact on world history is undeniable. What do you think? What happened to the Great Khan? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up and stay tuned for more exciting content. Thanks for watching.